What if chasing wealth is the very thing pushing it further away? Most of us were handed two stories about money. One said wealth is the goal, the other said wanting it is shameful. And somewhere between those two, we got lost. The middle path isn't a compromise. It's a completely different way of seeing. So the thing is, you work harder, you network more, and you take the extra project, send the extra email, say yes to the room you don't want to be in, and somehow the promotion feels further away than it did last year. The harder you push, the more the goal seems to push back. The account balance grows, but the tightness in your chest when you check it doesn't shrink. 2 out of 3 workers report feeling burned out right now. Over half say job insecurity is spiking their stress. The chase is making us sick, and still we chase, because everyone around us is chasing too. We don't question the race when we're inside it. In plain terms, this isn't a financial problem at its root. It's a relationship, and like any relationship, it can be worked with slowly, with honesty. The Buddhist concept here is called Upadana. It basically means grasping not the wanting itself, but the clinging, the tight fist. And what this really means is that the harder you squeeze, the more success slips through your fingers. This video isn't about wanting less. It's about wanting differently. And here's where it gets interesting. Think of your mind like a pond. When the water is disturbed, you can't see the bottom, but when it settles, everything becomes clear. Grasping is the stone that keeps dropping into the water. Every time you clutch at a promotion, a paycheck, or a reputation, you create another ripple. You can't see the bottom anymore. You can't see what you're actually doing. Imagine sitting at your desk at 11 p.m., staring at a spreadsheet, wondering how you got here. You didn't plan to be this person, but the next raise became the only thing that mattered. And now, you can't remember why you chose this field in the first place. That is what grasping does. It narrows your life until the goal is all that remains, and the goal keeps moving. A researcher studying a disease doesn't know if the cure will work, but they do the experiment fully. They focus on the effort, not the guaranteed result. That is the difference between ambition and grasping. One moves forward with clear eyes, and the other moves forward with a closed fist. When you grasp at your career, your mind narrows. You stop seeing options. You make worse decisions. You say yes to things that don't serve you, and you burn bridges you didn't need to burn. You treat people as stepping stones because your worth is tied to where you land. The energy you pour into worrying about results is energy stolen from doing good work. This is what the Buddha called Upadana, not desire itself, but the quality of clinging that we attach to desire. It's the difference between wanting a promotion and needing the promotion to prove you matter, between building wealth and believing that wealth will finally make you feel safe. The first is human. The second is a trap. So what does non-attachment actually look like in practice? And let's be clear about what it is not. It is not indifference. It is not apathy. It is not checking out of your life, your bills, or your ambitions. You do not need to become a monk, and you do not need to renounce the world. Non-attachment means pursuing your goals while refusing to let the outcome decide how you feel about yourself. It means you can care deeply about your work and still sleep if the project fails. It means your identity stays rooted in your intention, not in the result. Buddhists have wrestled with this puzzle for thousands of years. The layperson's dilemma is real. How do you practice non-attachment while raising a family, paying rent, and trying to advance? Monastics can renounce the world, but lay people have to live inside it. The teaching doesn't ask you to leave. It asks you to change how you hold what you already have. The Mahayana tradition resolved this through what they call skillful means. A bodhisattva works in the world to benefit others, without clinging to outcomes, fame, prosperity, or even enlightenment itself. They are fully engaged and completely free at the same time. This is not a retreat. It is a more intelligent way of engaging. What this looks like in plain terms is simple. It looks like the meeting where you tell the truth, when lying would be easier. It looks like the boundary you hold, even when holding it costs you something. It looks like doing excellent work, because the work matters, not because the praise matters. That's non-attachment inside a corporate job. That's the middle path. Most people hear this and think it means you stop caring. But what it's actually pointing to is something different. You care more, not less. You care about the work itself, instead of the story you tell yourself about the work. The story is where the suffering lives. The work is where the peace lives. Now, the second piece of this is just as important. How do you actually do this when rent is due? How do you practice non-attachment when your manager is breathing down your neck? Let's slow down here, because this is where most people get stuck. There are really 3 things happening at once, and the first is your motivation. Before you open your laptop tomorrow morning, ask yourself one question. What would it look like to serve something larger than my own survival today? That shift is subtle, but it changes everything, because you are no longer proving your worth. You are offering something useful instead. And the second thing is your focus. Process over outcome. The scientist doesn't know if the cure will work, but they run the experiment fully. And you can do the same with your next task. Focus on the quality of the next action, not the guaranteed result. Write the email well. Lead the meeting with attention. Build the thing carefully. When your mind drifts to what your boss will think, notice that drift and come back to the sentence you are writing. The outcome will take care of itself, or it won't. Either way, you did the work. The third thing is how you receive feedback. When criticism comes, and it will, treat it as information, not identity. Failure becomes a signal, not a verdict on who you are. A missed promotion is data about fit, or timing, or skill. It's not a measure of your soul. The person who can hear feedback without collapsing is the person who can actually use it. That's a professional advantage most people never develop. And here's the paradox that makes this worth your time. When you release the grasp, space opens in your mind. You become kinder and more relaxed, and you make better decisions because you are not panicking. And curiously, these are the qualities that naturally bring a better reputation and even advancement, although you may no longer be directly seeking them. The relaxation is not laziness, but room for clearer thinking. Let's sit with that for a moment. All 3 practices point to the same shift. Grasping creates resistance because it collapses your identity into the outcome. Non-attachment restores your identity to your intention. The outcome becomes external again. You do the work fully, but the work doesn't own you. Wealth built on grasping and wealth built on intention might look the same on a spreadsheet, but one lets you sleep, and in the long run, that matters more than people admit. The person who builds with a calm mind makes different choices than the person who builds from panic. They see opportunities the panicked person misses. They take the long view because they are not running from something. They are moving toward something. This is the aha moment. The middle path is not a compromise between hustle and retreat. It's a completely different axis. You can want more and still be a good person. That tension you feel between ambition and integrity, that's not a flaw. It's a sign you're paying attention. And the path forward isn't to kill the desire. It's to understand it. So where do you start? Tomorrow morning, before you open your laptop, sit with one question. What would it look like to serve something larger than my own survival today? This is not about becoming a saint. It is about shifting the engine of your ambition from fear to care, from grasping to engagement. Try it for 1 week. Notice what changes in your body when you stop squeezing. Notice what opens up in your mind when the result is no longer the only thing that matters. You might find you work better. You might find you sleep deeper. You might find that the wealth you were chasing was never the point at all. If this question has been sitting with you, share this with someone who's navigating the same path. And subscribe. We go deeper every week. Thanks for watching.